Greetings, dear ones. Welcome to another episode of the Syrian Light Codes. Today is a surprise episode. It's a special episode where we are going to unpack what the universe is preparing, what the universe is cooking for us behind the scenes. I truly feel that we have been going through a few successions of just timeline shifts. Now I'm gonna explain, okay? I'm not just gonna leave it abstract. Right, it's I keep hearing the words no going back, okay, and on your terms. I think I'm gonna call this episode on your terms, life on your terms. And I wanna, by the way, I just wanna point out some of, I know it's for someone out there. Many of you while you were going through this karmic cycle that, well, it has been intensified over the past 3 years, but mostly it started 7 years ago. I repeat, for the past 7 years, we have been, and by we, I mean, if you're here listening, if you're still here listening to my episodes and you're not spooked by my frequency, which is intended to be no BS kind of space, then it means that you are part of our wave, that you are part of the people that are meant to hear these messages. Okay, so just trust that. You can label it however you want to label, but how I'm seeing it is we are the first wave of wayshowers. We are the first wave of visionaries. We are the first ones to have reached New Earth land. We are the explorers, the rebels of the old paradigms that we have just smashed and crushed and just completely left behind. Now, the reason why we have had it hard, let's just put it out there in simple terms. We just had it hard. The reason for that, it is because that's how you build leadership skills. Okay, leaders are not meant to and it may sound like a limiting belief, but it's not. Okay, just bear with me. It doesn't mean that in order to be a leader, your life have to suck. No, it means that the kind of experiences that you're going to go through for you to build leadership skills are going to challenge you to really pull out of you the strength, to really have your inner power be revealed to you. That is how a leader is built, okay? And it's not something that we can be taught, right? It's not something that you go to school and you build leadership skills. I mean, sure, but life school, Earth school, it's the one that actually really helps you develop those. And so I want to share that for many of you, and as usual, do let me know if this resonates. I know it's going to resonate for many of you. In the old Earth, right, precisely 7 years ago, I know many of you started your quote-unquote spiritual journey, whatever that means for you, about 7 years ago. For some, 3-4 years ago, on a conscious level. But for many of you on this wave, it's really started 7 to 10 years ago. And throughout that whole exploration process, throughout that whole self-discovery process, or should I call it soul discovery? Again, I don't resonate with the self concept, right? Because the self, it's not a constant, right? The soul is, but the self concept changes, and that process of soul discovery. Now, throughout it, you may have stumbled upon very deceptive energies that were quote unquote meant to guide you forward, okay? But the thing is, we were still in the matrix, we were still in the bubble of illusions. And what happens within the bubble of illusions is that many people live in the God, I wish I had a board right now to draw, because that's how I conceptualize things. So many people leave with their heart chakra closed. 99.99999. You just insert however many nines you want, and I truly stand by it, right? It's that is the definition of the 3D realm. It's we live in the first three energy centers. We're stuck within that energy loop, okay, and we cannot pierce through, right? This is the ego. I don't know why, but I'm feeling, just to pause, just bear with me, because when I channel, there's just a lot of information coming through from all channels. I feel guided to create a one-on-one 101 spiritual awakening guidelines for those of you who are truly right now, who are truly going through this ego death experience. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to pin it down below, okay? I'm going to write it down on my website, because I know the Masculine Collective right now is truly going through it, okay? And just many people are going to awaken to these experiences as the destruction of the old earth progresses. That being said, let's come back to the 3D. So humanity has been living under the survival patterns, okay? I repeat, the root chakra, and I know I said that I was going to create a chakra clearing program. It's gonna happen throughout spring, I promise. But I'm just a bit of a perfectionist, so I really want things to be really, really well done. So when we leave, when our root chakra is still unbalanced, okay, when our energy center is carrying this distorted energy from our ancestors, we live in constant fear, okay? We live in constant fear of survival, lack of belonging. Our foundation is just always, constantly, it's a rocky foundation. And this comes with, depression. Just many of us, especially advanced souls, have struggled with just mental health. And it is partly because of our ancestors, of just the low vibrations of the planet, but also because of the way the world is built today, which is meant to completely destroy your root chakra, to keep you live in this constant state of reactiveness, right? Just the traffic, the food. I mean, I don't know about you, but it's like I feel like there is just plastic out there. There is no nutritious food. I don't think I've eaten a good apple since my childhood. like really the taste of the apple, the smell of fresh, good, nourishing, proper food from Mother Gaia. Just really basically everything is meant to keep you in a constant state of reactiveness, right? Entertainment, I mean, right, is just you wake up in the morning, you go, first of all, you wake up with an alarm, which personally is just something that I cannot do anymore. You wake up in alert, right? You go face the, just the traffic or whatever it is that, and I say you, but I'm talking about, I don't know, 90% of people in the world, or how normality is being structured in today's world, in the Matrix. Personally, I remember when I was working, by 9 a.m., by 10 a.m., I was already exhausted because just that traffic and, the people in traffic and all the energies around it, and just all of that noise, all of that constant reactiveness is just, especially for an empath, it just completely destroys your foundation, your root chakra, your mental health foundation, right? Because these are the foundations. The root chakra is very closely related to our mental health. I'm going to explain more of that in the course that I'll be doing, but most importantly is this understanding of how the world is built, okay? And then you are it's built in a way that it's never allowing you to pause, or it's just, you're in a hamster wheel, okay? Because you gotta survive. I mean, in order to survive, you gotta go to some sort of box to earn your living, and that box is destroying your health, and so your health is ruined. It's just a never-ending cycle, but a cycle that takes a long time. It's seen over time, right? It's just when you hit rock bottom, or when you start seeing the effects on your health, that you start understanding that, oh my gosh, that's just not how life is supposed to be. Okay, anyway, and what I want to share is that many of you have tried to find solutions still within the realm of the 3D, and some of you may have found circles, quote unquote healing circles, however those are called, or self-help books that are still from the ego, okay? Because I repeat, the first three layers, first three energy centers are the survival ones, then the pleasure center, and then we have pleasure and creativity, life force energy, and then we have the ego, we have the confidence, the solar plexus, our drive in life. And once you move past the ego, and this is what is happening for many of you on this wave currently, especially the masculine collective who has been really holding tight on their ego, is that once you allow that ego death to occur, you're moving up, you are opening your heart. And when you open your heart and you allow the energy to flow, you're no longer stuck, right? Because that is exactly what is happening when you feel quote unquote stuck. And this is the line that so many, self-help books out there are using. Are you feeling stuck? Well, yeah, obviously, because your energy centers are blocked, and the energy cannot flow through. So long story short, as you release that ego, which you have held on to so tightly because you may have built an identity to help you get validation, get love, survive, get praise. That's how you have built your sense of worthiness out into the world, but it's inauthentic because it's not connected to your heart, and obviously it cannot you're not living your truth, because you only live your truth when you can when your heart is open and the energy can flow through in the throat chakra, which is the center of authenticity. So without the heart component, there is no authenticity. And so all these gurus out there who are preaching authenticity and whatnot, they are freaking scams, because it is only through the ascension that you can actually really live authentically. And this is funny because after I had my first spiritual awakening, I remember I was just lying on the floor in, was it Indonesia? No, I think it was Kuala Lumpur. I was just with my backpack. I remember I had a night flight, and I was just at the end of an Asian trip, solo trip. And I was learning everything about Buddhism and, just soul searching on a quest to find the meaning of life. That's how I was labeling it. And so I was just praying for answers, and that was the first time I really truly heard that voice of my guides, that voice of intuition. And it says, you're meant to write a book on authenticity, which then 7 years later became my book Unboxed. Now, it was a long process because I really had to map out the understanding of the world, and every single time I actually already finished maybe 3-4 books, and every single time it felt like it was incomplete, it felt like it was unfinished. And whenever I used to have this writing coaches, they all used to say, oh, it's a limiting belief, oh, you're too perfectionist. But I was, no, it's not done yet, it's not authentic, it's not it. And so I allowed myself to not publish something that was just steal from the 3D. And I realized that once I got to the understanding of, okay, ascension is the key, and then I started going through the process of just really just a lot of multiple ego deaths, and just opening my heart healing. That's when I truly found the center of authenticity, which is our throat chakra. And once I found that center, then my connection to source just skyrocketed, right? Because we go into the intuition realm, and then we go into the crown chakra, which is our connection to source and our connection to the cosmic. And that's when you open up to all these high beings, and it's just marvelous. And before you open your heart, you may have believed intuition was that voice that is just constantly in your head, which is actually fear. But that's not what intuition is. Intuition is calm. Intuition comes to you not when you're in a state of alert and reactiveness and it's like danger. It's like it's not the voice that is screaming, be careful, there is a tiger coming towards you. That's our instinct, that's our survival instincts. Intuition is that voice that just comes to you. It just comes to you. It's calm, it's centered, it's grounded, it's peaceful. You just freaking know. It's a knowing. It's not a fight or flight reaction. Okay. And so many of you throughout these 7 to 10 years, you may have found within that bubble, within the 3D, you may have found certain quote-unquote solutions out there, but they were just still in the 3D. They were still operating from ego. They could just not pierce through that layer of the ego, because essentially it's not for everyone. That you really gotta be, to be an ascended master, you gotta go through you gotta go through the crap that we've gone through, and not everyone is ready for that. So many may have been faced with lessons and challenges, and they just did a U-turn, and they no, not for me. And so they kept looping on that ego timeline, and on that 3D realm. And so just look at your life and look at the things that you had to go through to really be where you're at today, to really have ascended, and then realize that not many people are ready for that. And so this is why, okay, coming back to my original thread of thoughts. So in order to be a leader, you ascended master, an ascended leader, well, you had to go through the process of ascension. and you are truly a trailblazer, and like no one really thought you, like, personally, as I said, it was just 7 years constantly questioning the world around me. And I mean, how many people are able to do that? Just a lot of people are just giving into the easy way. But you are born for this, okay? You were born for your soul was ready, okay? On a human level, it was extremely rough, but on a soul level, you came here for ascension. And we were always meant to be the guides. We were always meant to be the leaders of the way. We were always meant to come here and endure and go through this process, and come out on the other side reborn. And so right now we are stepping into our leadership. Okay, we are, and with that, okay, the main focus of today's chat is on your terms. Okay, what does it mean to live life on your terms? Now that you have understood that most of the things that you have done in the past were still based on survival, were still based on looping around, were still based on the old paradigms, were still based on you trying to feed your ego, were still based on lingering programming, on lingering unmet needs from childhood, the people you interacted with, the marriage you were in, you were married to your mother or to your father, or you were just recycling old patterns. Okay, that's just what it is. You were trying to get a status out into the world because that's what you've been taught. You were trying to meet your needs, your unmet needs of your inner child. That is not how things are supposed to go. It's you first heal, you first acknowledge, and then you create a life that is on your terms and not necessarily based on unmet needs. Okay, many people think that, oh, my life dreams are to give to myself what I didn't have when I was young. Yes, that's part of your purpose, to heal. But then when you transcend the need and the limitation and the scarcity, because when you act from a place of I want to have what I didn't have, you're in scarcity, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We got to complete that cycle, right? I repeat, I kept saying this, and I've shared another episode a while ago. I think it was called Your Most Important Relationship, and it's about your inner child. The only way that you can complete the past is meeting the needs of your inner child. And by meeting the needs, it doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't mean that you are going to do that through external things, validation, or other people. You have to be the one who is able to complete the cycle for yourself. Just to give an example, because I don't want to leave it abstract, just to give an example, maybe so let's just say you never received enough, your gifts were never acknowledged. Okay, this is a big one for us, right? Because we grew up around 3D people, and 3D people just don't access spiritual gifts and creative gifts, and it's just a whole bunch of nonsense, useless stuff that just doesn't bring money. Because you gotta survive in the world, and you gotta prove yourself out into the world and all that stuff. What it means, it doesn't mean, okay, what closing this cycle means is not, oh, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna prove to everyone that I can and all that stuff. No, it's being okay with not having had that validation. First is acceptance. No, first is acknowledge. No, first is awareness. Second is acknowledgement. Third is acceptance. This is the model I outlined. And when you reach acceptance, and if you're interested, you can check out Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. She's just one of the best references for Buddhists. Her books are just marvelous. So you can confidently just dive into her teachings. You won't regret it. So it's when you reach acceptance of, all right, the 3D people could never validate me, the 3D people could never give me that unconditional love, the 3D people could not just, that's okay. You will no longer react to the world not seeing you. I hope it makes sense. You gotta reach that place of acceptance within yourself and not act from a place of keep wanting that validation, because you see, all our life, that's like decades for many of us, we kept living inside of this bubble of wanting validation from the world, which in a way is just not having that validation. We were still having a starved inner child who just needed all of those things. And it's only when you reach that place of forgiveness and acceptance in your heart that you can really heal your heart center. Because when your heart is closed, and you still have that heaviness, and it's that energy center is still blocked, then you're gonna loop around and try to find solutions within that old paradigm, which is the karmic paradigms, which is what most people, again, 99, and just insert however many nines you believe are appropriate. It's when we do not fully let go and freaking forgive our past completely, and accept the fact that we are advanced souls. We could have never fit into the old earth. We could have never gotten that love from people who cannot reach their own love, who cannot access the same realm of reality that we now can. And for many of us, we were just far more advanced souls than anyone, than our parents. And for many of us, we were the freaking parents of our parents. And it was just an exhausting cycle because we had to fight through all on our own. And that's just what the trailblazer's path and a leader's path is, you know, many of us, in order to be a leader, you got to be the one who is, you know, in charge of a group, of a collective. And so you had to build leadership skills. It's just what it is. So I hope this helps you understand and come to the acceptance of the old cycles. We really, okay, throughout this eclipse season, we really gotta come through. And there's a book I recommend. It's another book. I'm just, okay, whatever. It's just, I devour books. It's Osho, O-S-H-O, forgiveness. Okay. So, you know, for many who have probably followed the religious thread of just forgive people and just, you know, if you do good, you will receive good. Many of you have have really had to learn this lesson the hard way, because you cannot, it's not how life works. The karma, it's not just being a merciful doormat. That's just not what forgiveness is all about. Hell no. And Jesus was not a doormat. And that's how, personally growing up, seeing how religious people would refer to him. By the way, Jesus is really coming through, especially this week, is really helping the masculine collective. So do allow him to guide you forward. Many of you have grown with this image of what a virtuous or righteous person is. No, it's not being a doormat. Hell no. I mean, Jesus was a freaking rebel. Both him and Mary Magdalene, they were leaders of the way. They were the love and light kind of thing. It's just nonsense. No, they were not. They were really standing firm in their teachings, in their beliefs, and in their purpose, and they had to deal with a lot of hostility. And in front of that hostility, they weren't they really showed courage. Okay, so you gotta really rewrite and relearn what true forgiveness is all about, which for me is just not allowing old lingering, just transmuting old resentments. That's what it is. It's energetic processing. I really see it this way, like through an energetic perspective, is and again, in order for you to really forgive, you gotta transcend the ego, the solar plexus, because that's when we hold on to resentments, is when we are too attached to the ego, saying, oh, I can't forgive this person because it means that they are getting away. No, it's really just allowing that ego to transcending the ego and saying that doesn't make it, not making it about yourself. Okay, forgiving, it means you're liberating yourself. Forgiveness is freedom. Forgiveness is not being attached, because when you have an energetic, when you hold on to resentments, when you hold on to the past in whatever way, you have an energetic cord to your past, which means that you're still bringing your past onto your present. And it's just not a fun ride, right? It's just, you're gonna keep being burdened, and it's through releasing that need to have justice on your own, because karmic justice doesn't sleep. And especially this year, I shared in a reel or a short that this year is about karma. This year is about really every single person who had, everyone is going to receive their karma. It's just what it is. Those of us who have had good karma, they're going to receive good karma. And those who had tried to block us on our path, and they're just gonna, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go for revenge. You don't have to if you're feeling, it's only if you're feeling guided, because sometimes God uses us for that karmic pay. Okay, but you got to make sure that it comes from a really aligned place. Okay, so people still need to get their karma on a physical level. It's not just leave everything up to God, but it's got to come from a place of forgiveness. It's got to come from a detached place and not carrying out resentment. But mostly it's about you letting go. That's the biggest karmic payoff. So life on your terms, first and foremost, is realizing that the desires, your past, the things that may have felt like a drive in your life, which for many of us were about releasing the karma. I had a very strong shift in perspective when I realized that, those old psychological or therapy exercises where you have to define your values. And for me, for many of us, it has been it was freedom, it was having things that we locked. I repeat, it was completing the cycle. Those were our values. It was moving away from the things that caused us so much suffering. Those were our values in the past, in the old cycle. Now we're drawing the line, and we gotta rewrite those values. We gotta rewrite those rules based on who we are now as leaders, and no longer because we were students, and we're gonna still be students for freaking ever, because we're always learning. But we were in this apprenticeship of the old earth. We were in the old school. We were in the earth school, and now we are leaders. And so we got to rewrite. We're no longer stuck in a paradigm that we're trying to get out of. We are building. We are creating a new paradigm. We're no longer in the swords energy, which you can imagine if you look at the suit of swords in tarot. It's not a comfortable place to be in. We just freaking wanted to get the hell out of there. Now we're in the pentacles. Pentacles are cool. It's like the energy, you just want to stay in there. You just want to, it's a beautiful energy to be around, and it's stable. And now we gotta completely, we can no longer be in the hamster wheel. That's just what it is. We can no longer be trying to get out of a cycle. We're building a new cycle. And as leaders, it is our responsibility to not carry karma, to not carry lingering karma, and to repeat, to teach from a place of still ego or still old. It's, again, I repeat, this is why the divine had us really go through this. We really had to suck the devil out of us through this process. Like, we really been put through the ringer, and because we had to come out on the other side as pure. So it's like really being under this pressure machine. We had to have all, I'm trying to find a metaphor here, but it's really, we were really put through the washing machine, really. And now we really gotta come into a place of alignment with our soul, because once we really heal the heart, we move into the soul dimension. We're no longer in the 3D, we're no longer in the ego, and this is when we can really align these two. We can align our identity with our soul, okay, because we have reached the soul dimension. So long story short, this week truly is about moving out of the scarce model of the 3D old earth and into the soul divine abundance. This is the energy that really came through. And in order for us to do that, abundance only comes from the heart. It comes from gratitude. It comes from authentic living. It's not like needing material stuff or having material positions. That's not what true divine abundance is being in that energy of abundance daily, and understanding just how opening to this realm of energetic abundance and having your heart open to receive. And this week is really about just fully and completely closing the cycles. We're reaching the 8th of April, and that's when the doors of the old earth will be forever closed. And so this week may be quite intense, because we really are fully and completely closing this cycle, the old earth cycle, forever. And we cannot carry the past into our present anymore, because the present is what creates the future. So right. And yeah, one last thing that I want to share is that this is where Eckhart Tolle speaks about the pain body, and the pain body can only be felt in the present moment. But in the past, we were never in the present. We were still in the past, and because we were skipping the present, we would carry our past into the future. And again, this is also what Joe Dispenza is one of the best out there who talks about this. But it is only through presence that you can alchemize what is there, not trying to override it, not trying to escape it, because I mean, yeah, it is painful. Feeling those old lingering wounds is painful, but it is the only way to forgive and to transcend and to alchemize. Forgiveness is not overlooking things. You know, many of you may have thought that forgiveness just means, you know, forgiving another person for their wrongdoings, but just, you know, keep accepting their poor behavior. That's just not what it is. It's not tolerating BS. It's having respect for yourself. You know, forgiveness is also about setting the right boundaries. It's like, okay, I transmute this, I forgive you, but I also don't allow you in my life. So it's, you cannot have forgiveness without true self-love. You can't. That's just BS. That's just trying to just, you know, hide things under the carpet. This is not what it is. Okay, still looping because of the inability to truly forgive. It's still looping in the old patterns and paradigms. Now, that being said, this week is really about just removing the lost beads of venom that we have in our heart, and not bypass. Again, just love and light. It's not about bypassing the realness of life, the raw and real you know, challenges that we have gone through. It's acknowledging those and is really taking those as your greatest treasures, because those will be the ones, those lessons will be the ones who have shaped you into the leader that you are today. Okay, and so all these riches are truly going to be your best, just your biggest assets. So dear ones, I hope, okay, yeah, so just to wrap this up, life on your terms right now is just, again, write down on a piece of paper the kind of things that you were driven by in your old life, in your old earth, as your old self, and see it from, you know, as a character in a movie. It's like, this was the movie, the old movie. Now you're starting a completely new series, a completely new season. Not season, just a completely new series, a completely new movie. Okay, with new characters, with new, just a whole new thread. Whole new story, just a whole new story. It's not a chapter, it's not a new season, it's just a whole new story. It's just another dimension. It truly is, literally. We're in the 5D, so these are new rules. Okay, so it's about living life on your terms. It's about the new earth, new rules. It's no longer survival now. It's about the it's about building, it's about empowerment, it's about just really the freedom to live. It's about authenticity. This is what the Age of Aquarius is all about. It's about real authenticity. All right, dear ones, so yeah, write down on a piece of paper the kind of things that you were driven by, And now, as you move, maybe it's not today that you're going to be able to figure this out, but by the 8th or 10th with the new moon in Aries, because that's really the go time for many of us on this wave. That's just 100% beginning, 200%, 1000% beginning of the new Earth. It's official. So yes, throughout, don't pressure yourself into figuring them out now, but mostly focus on this process of forgiveness. Everything that is causing you to not be fully authentic, everything that is still in your heart, just poison from the old earth. Transmute all of that crap, and it's going to be revealed to you. I mean, this is what the eclipses are all about, so do your best to go through this process without projections, without fighting it. The ego death is about just fully surrendering to dying, to let an old part of you die, and it's not comfortable. You're literally going through an energetic death. So it's just knowing where you're at. I hope that it's helping you ease a little bit the process, but you're still going to have to go through it. And just knowing that what's going to come on the other side, it's the beginning of your new life. It's just, you're going to be completely reborn as who you truly are, as you. This is the moment that you knew all along, going through the older karmic cycle, that you came here for that, for this. Every single challenge that you've been through was for this moment, and this is truly where our life begins. Like, I know many of you may have felt that you've been in a slumber for the rest of for your life until now, and it's just, you've been asleep. You've been asleep because you didn't really want to be fully awakened. You didn't really want to be acknowledging the reality of dealing with all those dark energies. So you were half asleep. You were not fully present, and that was your coping mechanism to not anchor yourself fully on Earth, and that was through coping mechanisms, through addictions, through all of those things that were taking you out of the present moment. I repeat again, Eckhart Tolle comes through in our lesson, in our conversation, for a reason. It's only in the present moment, and by acknowledging what truly is and not what you would want, because this is what the old Earth was all about. Is about picturing, projecting, imagining what we would have maybe wanted based on our past trauma. And it was an illusion, because we were not in the present moment, and everything that is not in the present, it's an illusion. So we were in the projection of what we wanted. Your karmic marriage, your karmic relationship, it was just a projection. But when you really, 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 really look at the person you were with, you will realize that you were with a fantasy, you were with an illusion, you were with the person that could never give you what you wanted, because you were still in a karmic cycle, in a karmic emotional unfinished business with your parents, with your old Earth karmic family. But you were never fully present. You were in the hope or in the illusion that, oh, maybe things will be good one day, and you were, attached to that image, to that potential. But if you are fully in the present, which is what the new Earth is all about, we can no longer be in fantasy land. It is just incredibly magical, but it's a real magic. It's the real raw magic. It's not a blurry projection. Okay, it's real fantasy. Right. Now, yes, when you become fully present, fully present with your heart, with your soul, with your needs, with your true soul desires, you'll realize that what has been running the show were still unmet needs, but these are not necessarily your values. Okay, so ego values versus soul values. The ego values are based on unmet expectations, unmet needs, and soul values come from a place of wholeness. It comes from a place of finished business. So if you want true unconditional love, okay, I'm gonna wrap this up. If you want true love in your life, you gotta claim it from a place of wholeness and finish the business with the codependent patterns of the old earth. You cannot, it's not a person that is going to give you that love. Okay, it's not your twin flame, it's not your life partner, it's not your soulmate, however you define it. No, it is you. Because with another person, even if you enter into a relationship, the dynamics will still be the same. It's just two people in their wholeness who can come together and create that energetic transfer from heart to heart with two open heart chakras. That's the only way. That's the only way. With two open heart chakras, love can flow. And codependency is when two people with closed heart chakras are just passing on their trauma onto each other. Just ping-ponging unmet needs. It's like, give me what I don't have. No, you give me what I don't have. That's just codependent relationships. It's not what love is. It's what we've been taught love was, but it's not what love is. So, yeah, everything that you want, your true soul desires, or come from... now, I'm just gonna give one last example. And, you know, this week is really... it's really all about that. So just please focus. Please listen to this episode. I truly hope that I made it as clear as possible. Please do this exercise. It's highly important for this transition that we are just rapidly moving towards. Personally, one of the biggest things that will... one of the biggest soul values is truly being grounded and present on earth. Just groundedness, nature, just being present, just loving life, Mother Gaia, sacral chakra, just being here in the now, being present. And the only way that I can really fully do that is through closing the old cycle of just not wanting to be here. This is one of the biggest things that as starseeds we need to heal as well. It's all the reasons that just we didn't want to be here. You know, for me it was the cynical, and I'm pretty sure that you can see it as well in many of my sharings. It's just this cynical part of me that is just, I don't want to be here, right? I'm still here, and I will be here because I know I'm very strongly connected to my mission. But it was just never fully being here, never really enjoying seeing Earth as this just burden that, you know, I was put here because I know my mission is valuable, but I just had to drag along myself through it. And one of my biggest purposes in this lifetime is just healing my body, healing my presence, healing my relationship with my physical being, me being here, my body, and no longer carrying that pain, that trauma, that suffering, that terror that was constantly within me of, oh my God, being here, right? Because when you're fully in the present, fully in the present, then you get to experience the pain that you used to carry. You know, I was running marathons. I was just doing a lot of sports that were very tough on my body, but I was never connected. So a shift for me would be to move from that place into doing maybe yoga, things that are really allowing me to be present and really feel that pain that is still alchemically, it's still energetically imprinted in me. And so we gotta transmute. We are alchemists. We gotta transmute all these. This is our role. This is what we came here. We came here to transmute. We took on karmic energies from our family. We were bathing in it. We absorbed it like a sponge, and now we are transmuting all that crap, and we're starting a new, fresh, clean. All right, dear ones, I truly hope this message landed and it resonated and it reached whoever needed. I'm sending you so much love and healing energy, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.